Osiyo, it's how we say hello in Cherokee. I'm your host, Jennifer Lauren, at Northeastern State University in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Formerly the site of the Cherokee Female Seminary, this institution is forever tied to Cherokee culture, history, and commitment to education. Throughout Cherokee communities, our elders keep the flame of traditional knowledge alive. Weynema Smith is one of these precious leaders. As a Cherokee National Treasure for Language and Lifeways, Weynema is dedicated to teaching and inspiring her fellow Cherokees to deepen their cultural connections.
Weynema Smith is my English name. My Cherokee name is эгᎨᎳᎢ, and that means I love her. эгᎨᎳᎢ unitu always in golden эгᎨᎳᎢ stu Sunday. And I Linda Ben, 渥asa, Oklahoma. My brother, and that was older than me, and a sister that was younger than I was, had to live with my grandparents because we lost our mother when we were real young. My grandparents, which was my mother's parents that took us, they spoke Cherokee all the time, and that's where we learned to speak the Cherokee language, from them. My grandfather was really strict on wanting me to learn. He wrote the syllabary on a big old piece of chart paper, and he'd always call our attention to it. All right, it's time to study your syllabary. And that's when I learned all of my syllabary was back then, when I was probably 8, 9 years old. Was very thankful that I learned it. As my elders would always say, if you ever forget your language and don't know how to speak it, you can't be called Cherokee no more. So that was really hard for me. I stuck to it though. I wanted to learn it and I wanted to be able to teach it. I was in high school when I first started out, probably about 16. I had never even been in a store where they had books, for Cherokee language. I just had to write my own, and teach it, and think of the animal, how you say animals in Cherokee, but they got by pretty good. Yeah, and I didn't dream, none of my grandchildren were interested in the language for all those years. I was teaching it. See, I have 3 granddaughters. And then I have Charlie, she's got Zeb and Zach, 2 sons. Of course, they couldn't speak it. And all of a sudden he comes and says he's going to take that Cherokee class. So that's how he got started. And he's really stuck with it. And I am really proud of him.
When I think of my grandma Weynema, I think of someone that is gonna make you laugh, someone that's gonna make you feel welcome, someone that is gonna insist on cooking for you, someone who is gonna help you in any way that she can. She was definitely always pushing me to learn the language. I remember being little and spending almost every weekend of my childhood here at her home, and she would always say things to me like asking what do you want to eat? And as a kid, I was like, I don't know what you're saying to me. Just as I was watching you, I thought that I don't even know what this is called.
The gunto. It's a weave with.
The gunto. For a while, I lived in Texas, and I met people from all over the world, really. And I just realized that I couldn't tell them nearly as much about my language and my culture that they could tell me about theirs. And I thought, but I have such access to a speaker here in my family, so why not absolutely go home, utilize that, mend that relationship, strengthen that relationship with her and I, and then also learn the language and the culture hand in hand with that.
It's so important. I have people to ask me, well, why do you think it's so important, and how come it to be so different that you can't explain things in your language and English language? I said, there's a lot of difference in explaining it, like our herbs, and there's so many vegetables out there that we lived off of, and we still do. My grandparents, they were farmers, had 80 acres, and he grew corn. My grandfather did, grew corn, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and all that kind of vegetables we put up. So they was always so interested to pass it down. They'd take us to the running water early in the morning, and we'd go. My grandfather would get behind us, and he'd be praying all that time. My grandfather was a medicine man, and they'd call him different places to come and doctor. Always had a feeling that if he would have lived longer, he was always grooming me to learn that stuff. He had taught me, this one man had a bad place on his leg, and he'd had it for years. He went to all kinds of doctors, and they'd give him stuff to use. It might heal a little while, but they'd come back. And he said, now then, you go out and you find this tree. He told me what it's going to look like. And you take those sparks off of it, and then you start your fire. Not a big fire, just a small fire. And you burn that bark in there. And you save them ashes. Put Vaseline with it, or it can be made with salve, or you can rub it on his sore. Ask him if he'll believe in that. Pray about it, that it's going to heal up. And it healed it. Several years he lived, and it never did come back. That place didn't on his leg. And stuff like that they teach you, your elders will. I mean, my grandfather was good at it. I always knew that it was important that I listened to him, and which I did. And I took it all in, and we just really, I guess, depended on our God, our Creator. He was the one that created us. He was the one that told this Indian man, I'm going to put you here, and you take care of this land. It's going to be yours. You can live on it as long as you want, and you're going to be speaking the Cherokee language, and you teach that language. And I was always so proud of it, that we had that. Cherokee going history. Eliga yahenta udulta delquasti and delquasti I salatico. Sayagaya kanahan siakali. Hello you with a lilo. Ikto geses kanana. No two six go. Ikto eniga ehna. Skanayus Nigantan gesest. Nida delquasca ni gesest a lucky gay one history.